So Sam, based on the experience, how are different marginalized communities impacted within the same services in Quebec?
Oh, great question. I think there's multiple parts to this answer. So I think on the one hand, I think, you know, certain communities throughout the province, whether they're living in a gentrified area or whether due to the history of this province, have experienced a lot more traumatic events and live in communities where tragedy and trauma are a lot more frequent. So for these individuals coming into mental health services, not saying that they're provided less importance or less significance, but because these individuals from these specific communities can tend to lean more towards tragedy as their solution to a lot of life's problems, that's taken into consideration when these services are provided, right? Now, that's not always a negative thing, as the second answer to this question is that a lot of services have to be created on the outside, outside of the provincial system. So nonprofits, community organizations. There's a lot of things like that that are created to help these marginalized communities get access to the same resources that are typically provided. If you're living in a very suburban, middle income area and neighborhood, a lot of these services are in your doctor's center. You have pamphlets, you have access to a lot of this information at your fingertips. Whereas if you're coming from smaller communities, that's less of a concern. That's less of something that they think about. The school systems are not packed with resources that are able to support that in lower income schools. So I think that in that sense, although resources exist within this province, access and the knowledge and the education as to where to go to find this help, that's sometimes the hardest thing to do. And there's people doing incredible work throughout this province to create lists and collaborations of all the resources that are available. There's a link called LGBTQ and All that you guys can search on Google, and it has a list of all of the mental health services that exist throughout the province, whether you're a part of a marginalized community like the LGBTQ plus community, or whether you're a part of the Indigenous community, the Black community. So that would be, in my opinion, the biggest difference is that for some of us, we require these additional resource centers and these additional nonprofits to help fight and be activists for our voice and our right to have equal opportunity in these services.
Thanks for the answer.